located?
Drayton Valley
Ah,
for
the
now.
beautiful Drayton Valley.
For now. On.
Sorry, go
My,
ahead again, Audrey. You got cut out.
I said not necessarily for long.
actually, she didn't cut out for me, Paul.
She did not?
No,
Oh, I apologize.
could be on your end.
That must have been on my end. Things are still spooling up. I can see from the live that my video's a little delayed. All right. I am ready. You guys ready? You
Definitely
guys were
ready.
here. You were ready at 11. Okay, here we go.
I feel I'm behind the 8 ball, Paul, with a lot of this now.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Especially especially this night stuff. I'm
Right.
so frustrated because I didn't get nothing. Ugh.
Well, good news is you're not missing out yet. This morning, and I've been checking every other hour, still not available. And I don't know if it's like a certain time of day where it's gonna just launch or what. I was talking in the midnight Discord, which is their app that they use for all their front side communications. That could some you can even get it on some of the centralized exchanges. BitBuy, for example, OKX or OXK or something like that. Binance has it listed. However, it's interesting that when I go to the DEXes, even the Cardano DEX, I'll bring it up here. This is MinSwap. There's no data. There's no trading data yet.
Huh.
So, and that's because it hasn't officially launched. So that tells me that the exchanges are selling what exactly?
well, do they not have a main website that you can go to see if it actually has launched?
Yes, indeed. They have the website, but there is no indication on there as to when it's launching. All that we are given on the website is the contract. So, the contract address, let's go to night information. Oh, that's saying nothing there. When we go into night, we can see here, there's the contract address. That contract address is accurate. And also you can see that little check mark. So it's been authenticated. It's been verified by MinSwap. MinSwap is one of the largest DEXes on Cardano. So the coin address, the token address has been confirmed. And it's there. But we can see 0, right? And then there are these guys here who likely were just trying to get in on it by creating scam coins. That's the problem with the Wild West, is that that's entirely possible, so buyer beware. But there you can see there's the verified check mark on the night. That's the address. You can check that on Cardano Scan to confirm. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I just copied it. And I'm going to, what's it called? Cardano Scan, I think.
You said MinSwap was one of the largest dexes on Cardano?
That's right, yeah. There are a few, but that one's probably the most popular. It's definitely got larger liquidity. All right, so I'm on the Cardano Blockchain Explorer. I am pasting the address for that token, and here it is. There's the policy ID, there's the fingerprint, and here's the description. 6 decimals. Total supply is 24 million.
That's all they have is 24 million?
Yeah, I thought it was more than that. I thought there was like 3 billion in the drop. Maybe I got my numbers mixed up.
No, that's 24. That's 24 billion that you see there.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, those are 9 zeros.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And did I share with you, Ian, what the decimals are called? There's night, but then these decimals here, those are the increments of night, and they are referenced as stars.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, given
So,
that they've used the glacier terminology, I'm surprised they didn't say icicles or something like that.
yeah. Yeah. And I think it's hilarious because each night has a million stars.
There you go.
So there it is. It's all here. Everything's ready to go, but it's not being traded yet. So we just have to wait for that action to occur, and I'm watching here. It is said within the community, on the online community for Midnight, that once the token is available for purchase, that it will then appear inside our Eternal wallets or Lace wallets or wherever there is a wallet that has the ability to swap. So it's just a waiting game. Audrey, you're not behind. The only thing that you missed out on a little bit was that scavenger, the scavenger hunt. Oh, my total numbers have come through. I acquired during that scavenger hunt. It was actually pretty resource intensive. My computer's a $4,500 laptop, and it was maxed out doing what it could do for probably 3 or 4 days. I didn't touch it. I didn't move it. I barely did any production on it. Did mostly writing and reading during that time. And my total number of night that I was able to mine was about 400.
Wow. I think I've got maybe about 150. I haven't
Oh
looked
yeah.
at my final figures yet because I haven't done the swap yet.
Right. Yeah.
I have to get my head around that process.
Yeah. So that
I
process on. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Audrey.
I might have got 30,
Nice.
but
I know.
you'll have to help me.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. If you want, after market analysis, I'll hang out. I'll hang out till I think I've got until 12:30. Yeah. I'll show you how to do the swap in Lace. Super easy, user friendly. Make sure that you've got a balance. There needs to be liquidity in your wallet. It's like a confirmation that there's someone in existence. So when you go to click on swap, it might tell you got to deposit some ADA first. Oh yeah, here we go. It says you don't have enough ADA, so we're gonna put it in here, and that way there's some collateral for the exchanges to have enough liquidity for transactions. It's basically like an insurance to make sure that you're able to move these transactions. Everybody's got to contribute a little bit. So confirm. All right, collateral added. Thank you very much. There we go. So when you click on swap down at the bottom of the list there, right there, after you click on that, hey Corey, we'll add you here to the stage.
Hello, Corey.
Hey everyone.
All right, so here's where you can swap coins in Lace. To do so, you would first select the coin that you want to sell here. So I'm going to, sell, I say, swap. I'm going to swap out some Cardano, and when the time comes, I can go select, and I can search night. And as you can see, we don't have the official coin up here. And that's okay, because it's not being traded yet. We're still waiting for those first trades. So that's where you'd select night. You know, I did the example before. Let's see if I can get some of that. What was it? What was the coin that I was thinking of? Oh, you know what? Let's get some Hosky. So the Hosky token, that was a meme coin that was created in honor of Charles Hoskinson. And it's probably one of the more common coins. So here you can see, oh yeah, now I got to add how much ADA do I want to put in. So I'm just going to put in 100. and I'm going to receive all that Husky. The best offer right now is on Steel Swap. There is a slippage maximum of 0.5%. My mouse is a little delayed there.
Boy, that's got to be a real cheap token.
Oh, yes.
Like all the way to the lowest zero.
Oh, yeah, it is crazy. I mean, 100, that's two
And you
decimal
got
points
1.7 billion there.
Yes. Isn't that wild? Yeah, well, it's a meme coin, so it's definitely not going to be worth that much. But that's an example. I'm not going to actually execute on the trade. I just wanted to show you how you would select a coin there. Now, again, that's using Lace. Eternal has a very similar interface. It's a little bit different because there are more options over on the left, more things that you can do with an Eternal wallet. Lace is definitely a light wallet, but it's super user-friendly, so I like to teach with it. With Eternal, the same thing applies. Make sure that you have the right account selected. Now this account here has got all of the different tokens that I did for Night when I did the mining. So these were all contracted at one point. But I'm just going to use the top one, Night 1, as an example. And then you'd click on swap. That opens up the swapping option. Now it's going to be using Monster Swap. Monster Swap is an aggregator of DEX data. And so it's able to determine what's going to be your best prices. Here I'm going to just grab the SNEC, or it's pronounced snake. And I don't really have much in here, but that's where it would go. I think there's like 3 in there or something like that. 354, yeah. So there we go. I got 3, and then this is the meme coin. And when I'm ready, I would click swap. So that's how we're going to be able to do it. I'm watching for it on the DEX, though, because something tells me that we'll see the activity here first, just because this is the decentralized exchange. This is where most people are going to conduct it, unless, of course, they're hardcore wallet lovers. But this exchange here is the official launching exchange for Midnight. Once the trades are occurring on this exchange, we'll be able to see it everywhere.
What's the name of that exchange?
This is minswap.org. I'll grab the link here.
And you said it's the official exchange for what?
For Night tokens. That's where Night is launching their coin on the Cardano DEXes. It is being launched on various centralized exchanges as well. I think it was earlier this morning I put up a link for a YouTube video that was produced by the Learn Cardano podcast. And I can't remember his name, but he's very, very good at being able to keeping us up to date on the major events. And he posted that video that I shared. He goes through on Midnight's X profile, showing all of the centralized exchanges, so CEXes, their listings. So Binance has got it, MEXC has got it. BitBuy has got it. And so those that's a good video to check out to see all the different centralized exchanges that have it. That's that's the Midnight update for now. Any questions?
So I need funds in my wallet in order to do those transactions, in order to download Night. Okay, very good.
Yep. Night is it is a side chain of Cardano, but it currently is a layer 2 coin, providing that privacy layer.
Now, what's the difference between Sidecoin and Layer 2?
Not much. Layer 2 can sometimes have its own Layer 2 can sometimes have its own protocols. Having a side chain simply means we're copying and pasting this code to create another blockchain.
So it is actually its own blockchain,
Yes,
but
its
it
own
mirrors
blockchain.
it mirrors Cardano.
Right. And it operates as a layer 2 in that in order to get that coin or to exchange that liquidity on the Cardano infrastructure, you would need to trade it with Cardano, the layer 1. Being it's on, on Ethereum and Polkadot and Solana, those are all layer 1s, and they also use Midnight as a layer 2 under their protocols. So it's a very, very networked. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a networked layer 2. All right. I'm watching this chart. Well, actually, you know what? Let's start off with Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance over the last week has basically been consolidating. Hasn't really moved a whole lot over the last little while. I would say, really, it's been staying in this range basically since the 18th of November. But with it already starting to drop again, I do anticipate this to push against this level here. If we can get down there and past this old support, it's going to be a swift fall down, I think. Well, no, this level here, 56%, might provide some major resistance or support rather. We'll see. But that next level is that yellow line is going to be a major support level. And I anticipate, given how low this low went, that the next impulse is going to bring us down a couple more pivot points. Related, Bitcoin up against gold has been consolidating here for the last couple weeks, 21st of November. And Ethereum against Bitcoin, basically staying the same. Looking like it's hitting some resistance though. Might see that drop a little bit before it takes more Bitcoin to buy Ethereum. Going into the metal sector now, we can see that silver made another new high. Let's zoom in on the 4-hour chart so we can see the granular details. That was back on Friday, 8 o'clock in the morning. Brand new highs. That all-time high now is sitting at $59.33 US, and in Canadian dollars, that is $82.82. Amazing. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to put Canada as a favorite, and then that way that's easier to see. There we go. Gold, still consolidating. Oh my gosh. It's been consolidating since November 28th here.
Just so you know, what's showing up on your screen is Bitcoin gold.
Oh, wow. That screen froze. Thank you very much. Let's go and restart the capture. There we go. That's the first time that's ever happened. All kinds of weird tech stuff today. Mercury must be in the microwave. Or whatever, however that works. Okay. Gold. You can see that it's been buttoned up against this old high. This high from November 13th, which is that, that was that high that wasn't able to reach back up to that all-time high that we double topped there before in October. But this pressure up against this pivot point is encouraging. We've been consolidating ever since, like I say, ever since 28th. And I'm noticing that it is not providing you with the Mouse Pro. Yeah, it's not showing the Mouse Pro. Let me just see if I have to refresh that capture. Yep. There we go. Now that is showing. Fade back. Okay, here we go. So this resistance here is right now what we're butting up against. Where we are right now, if we were to follow a Wyckoff theory, it would call for one more quick extension to test this line, or possibly the downward trend line. But either one of these trend lines could very well provide that next support. Again, this would be that accumulation from extending from the consolidation. It may not do that though, simply because we did break out of this line here, and it is gold, precious metals. It's anybody's game at this point. But even if it drops down, like that's not much. Oh, what went back in that? Sorry, there we go. And we got a diminishing year of only 1.73%. You won't even notice that at the dealer. Japanese markets faltering ever since hitting its all-time high. In fact, the highs are getting lower and the lows are getting lower. Yeah, just this last year and Friday, going Thursday and Friday, that was just weak volume. US 30 also, after dropping down, it has been challenging itself to go back up to that all-time high that was hit on November 12th. And we'll see what happens here. Now that it's underneath this trend line so hard that as it is, in fact, let's take a look at this miniature trend line here. We can see this pattern. Yeah. Yeah, we're basically on the underside of this trend line that intersected, especially through this area here. Oh, is it not? It's not tracking again, is it? No, I'm moving around my mouse and there's nothing showing up there.
Nope, nothing showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. All right, now it's moving. Man, that's so weird. All right, so this line here, this is that intersecting line where we've seen a major pivot point. Remember how we talked about that last week? That major pivot point has now become some resistance. In the past, going up this trend, it was on the top side. Now it's on the bottom. Doesn't really mean much. It's just interesting to see, and that when this occurs, the likelihood of it getting back up above that goes down. We typically see another low get formed after this kind of a thing, because we keep on butting up against it. Here it was a big strong test, but we really just tested that lower side of that trend line, or that particular pivot point. I'm noticing the mouse is moving and you guys are still on the Nike.
Yep.
All right.
Definitely a systems issue.
Yep. Definitely. Okay, now we're looking at the same chart. This is the intersection that I'm talking about right here. That has provided resistance. Here, support, resistance, support. Here, it was a hard test. And as it continued to climb up, it provided a lot of support. Another test here. Extension going up. And now this is a heavy coming down. Now, it didn't create a lower low. But now that it's below, we're noticing that that line is now providing some resistance. So if it were to continue, it's entirely possible. This is all manipulated markets now anyway. There's all of them are. But in a technical analyst's world, this is now providing resistance. We can expect a lower low. Bitcoin prices on the 4-hour chart that low that occurred back on November 21st at $85,000 seems to be a strong support. We just created there last week. We created a new high above the high that couldn't beat out. Oh no, you know what? We're button up against. Yeah, that's what's happening. So essentially, we have a rising wedge pattern, a miniature rising wedge pattern at the moment. This high here technically did not beat out the previous high simply because it just didn't last. So we've got a ways to go before we can see whether or not we can get above that. I would like to see the strength of bit for us to know that we're going bullish. I would like to see the price of Bitcoin get above this support 5 level. That would be a key area to get back above 98,000. Especially the 100,000 is going to be the psychological level. We'll see some resistance there as well. Once we're above that, it'll be.
You don't think it's going to drop below 80?
It very well may. Oh no! Look at that. My screen just froze on you again. I might have to do a reset on the computer here today. Restart the capture and fade.
Yesterday, I was watching your video with Audrey Lynn on how to set up the Catherine. How do you say that?
The
Eternal
wallet.
Eternal.
Yep.
And then I was kind of going along with it, and my computer made this most awful noise.
No way.
And it was kind of like a, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And everything froze. It did it 3 times.
Wow.
And I had everything else closed other than your video and an eternal wallet.
Does anybody keep track of like the solar weather? Are there some solar storms that are passing through our atmosphere or something like that? Because that can create those kinds of issues.
Well, we definitely had that back a week or two ago when we had all the Northern Lights.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I haven't heard of anything since. But we're in the season. We're in a season of solar activity.
Yes.
I have read that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know that it is going to be intensifying. It's probably going to be intensifying for the next 6 or 7 years, my estimation. Based on what I comprehend about the Earth changes, we're going to see it accelerate. And in fact, I don't know if anybody else has noticed. I know I sure have that since growing up, the sun has grown whiter. The light itself is growing whiter, and it's indicative of that higher solar activity, especially the flares. And it happens. It oscillates, but over the past 20 years in particular, the oscillations, it's kind of like trends. The trend has been increasing, where the whiteness of the sun during these periods of time it brightens, and my screen froze again. Wow, look at that. And yet I'm able to move around, but the screen is dead.
Yep.
Wow. I might have to do the update. I did hear that people using OBS are experiencing some complications with their stage left. Yeah, their tech on OBS they've been complaining, and some of them have said, I had to do the update just to get my OBS working again.
What's OBS?
I don't even know what it stands for. It's an open source video management, video source.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a media manager. Basically, my camera, like you know how we've got our cameras on our computers, or if you've got a peripheral attachment for a camera, you got to give permissions to access your operating system and stuff like that. to maintain that extra layer of privacy, I don't actually have my operating system, well, it is technically at the hardware level, but Mac OS doesn't look at my camera. OBS does. And so I manage all the signals and everything through OBS so that I know that the only way people are going to be able to see me is if it's through OBS. Is it still moving? Yeah, okay, we're still moving. Let's move on to Ethereum. Looking at Ethereum, we can see that last week there on the, or actually no, this is November 21st. We're on the daily chart. That we bounced off of that yellow line. $2,600. Now, we are already experiencing some resistance. We haven't even reached this line at 3,300. It is entirely possible that we are headed down. I know of two people that follow this a lot more closely than I do on the Ethereum liquidity side, that they are bearish, short-term bearish. In fact, they will not be bullish again until they get above the all-time high. And I tend to agree. I tend to agree right now with Ethereum. Unless, of course, Trump says something and the media goes crazy and a bunch of money moves around, because that seems to be the pattern. Cardano hitting that that low from before the election, hitting 37 cents. It has bounced back up again, and as we zoom in, we can see that we are above that pivot point. Now, doesn't mean that we're headed up to the ear, but you can bet your boots that as we rise up to this level here, I will be watching Bitcoin dominance. If Bitcoin dominance is going to continue to rise during that time, then I will be selling some ADA. Probably move it over to night or something else. Something that I feel is going to be growing in the short term while Bitcoin loses dominance, before Bitcoin loses dominance. Doge, similar looking chart, finding some support at long term. That's October 24th. It's provided major support since then. Injective also seeming to hold itself here over the last couple weeks. XRP consolidating. That test though, this was a strong test. Look at that. My screen's froze again. That takes way too long to fix. Okay. XRP. This dip here, back on November 21st, that's a pretty deep dip below that pivot line. Now that's a deep retracement. It does show that this is providing more support than this line at the moment, but given how much this pivot point provided more support than this one, this green line provided more support than this one, I tend to analyze this as a continued downward trend. BitTensor down from the start of November. In fact, it's down 46% from there. Good time to dollar cost average for those who are interested. I've talked about this one. This one here I analyze because it allows us to see the barometer, so to speak, of where big money is being put into AI. It's interesting that during this time here, coming into the beginning of November, that Google made some major upgrades to Gemini, their learning language model, and its ability to code. major updates were improved significantly, which then widened its user base a little bit more. And then, of course, the price seemed to go down. And I say the price of BitTensor because BitTensor provides decentralized cloud computing, which is in itself fine, but to do it for big tech companies is kind of defeats the point of being centralized. They're providing services to centralized agencies. But it gives us a good barometer of where we're at. Fetch, one of my favorite AI projects out there, learning language models. This is for agentic AI. They actually don't have very many tools out. You know, the tools that are out, people can get them, either subscribe or they can install them locally on their computers. The focus for Fetch is developing that longer term product, which is going to be the agentic LLMs. Polygon, all-time lows. Oh no, that's not all-time lows. Polygon was definitely around before September 24. Great spot to be buying. Polygon, when the gaming industry takes its full run, Polygon is expected to go to $10. So where is that from here? About 8,400%. Desync, all-time lows. And yes, all-time lows. Company's not been around very long. Last week, I threw in another 100 just because for $100. The rate of growth, potential rate of growth, 1,600%, just coming back to the all-time highs that we saw in early this year, late last year. That's wonderful. Just couldn't resist. It's still going strong. PAL. Nice and low, sitting at 1.7 cents. Potential growth to recoveries, 4,600%. That's 46x. Yes, please.
What's the likelihood of that going there? And what will influence that?
Well, the big thing that'll influence that is going to be market capitalization. Let's go ahead and check it out on market.
Yeah, but is there something like gaming industry that's going to influence it, like Polygon?
Oh,
or
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, gaming industry predominantly.
Where do you anticipate gaming going, given where it is now? You know, it's almost like I see it at a plateau almost.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It is, I believe it is going to be a plateau upon which greater things are built over the next couple of years. Short term, I think we're going to see gaming lag behind the AI bubble. Keep in mind, it is entirely possible, and I don't know what the consensus is on this, but it is entirely possible that the whole AI bubble is already complete. I feel like the legacy models are going to demand for a war in order to boost up liquidity and elongate their extend their relevance within the markets. Not that that's going to improve the technology, not that that's going to fix the markets, but I believe that we're going to see that when that occurs, the development space is going to exponentially innovate. And I think it's going to be occurring. We're going to see those innovations come out of the open source. I mean, one of the things that AI is supposed to do, these language learning models, what they're supposed to do is keep people on their platforms. Remember, the currency is attention. So when these models are running, they are constantly being optimized to ensure that the time spent with the models by the users goes up. And sometimes they do that by adding other features, saying, "Oh, now look what you can also do." You know how you could have the LLM book your appointments for you and update your online calendar for you so you don't have to go and open up your calendar app anymore? Well, now we're also adding the ability for the LLM to write emails for you. And we're also the ability for, like Claude, for example. You can connect Claude to your laptop or your computer and have it write text files, markdown files, JSON files directly onto your computer locally. So it can do the button pushing for you. Every time they add more features, they are increasing the amount of attention that people give the machine. And that's their job. No different than social media. Social media, they don't care whether or not your business makes money. They don't care whether you make money. They don't even care how much the ads are worth. The only thing they care about is keeping people on their platforms. That's why when we first started working with social media marketing, they would make it difficult, incredibly difficult, 6-7 times more expensive to have a link in our ads. Simply because if they click the link, they're leaving Facebook. So they would penalize us for having content that guided people to solutions that were off of Facebook. It's because they don't care about making money. They care about keeping people's attention. So the same business model is coming forward with these LLMs. As LLMs get more attention, and it is becoming more and more evident to more and more people that the legacy models are fraudulent, that they are not following anything that could be close to science. They are the antithesis to efficiency. They are not helpful at all for reducing the amount of resources that we consume in computing power. Their job is to simply keep our attention. As people wake up to that, we're going to see other LLM models take flight. And I'll give you a case in point. One of the ones that I use in writing, let me just see if I can find that close by here. Inside Lex is one of the tools. Oh, and again, it's not updating my screen. Brave. Restart. There we go. And restart the mouse because that is just right there anyway. All right. So this is one of the LLMs that I use. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, Kimi K2. This is an agentic LLM model that is fresh out of China, probably, I don't know, a couple weeks old maybe. And I get it as a part of my subscription with Lex, where I've got all these different, I got Claude, I've got, all 3 models of Claude, ChatGPT 5, 4, it's not listed there, is it? It's probably out there, but somewhere. Grok 4, Grok 3, DeepSeek, Gemini, I've got all of these, but this new one just popped up. This one's out of China. One of the strategies for these LLMs to maintain the attention of the users is that they become agreeable, meaning they want you to think like you're onto something so that you keep coming back to get more out of the models. What Kimi has done, and this has become a problem, a major, major problem. We saw that occur about this time last year when there was a lawyer that actually used ChatGPT 4 to draft a bunch of documentation for him for a criminal case. So someone's life behind bars was at stake. And he used LLMs to create a case in defense for his client. In the creation of that, the LLM was bringing forward all kinds of different resources for him, ways to shape his argument. It even brought out cases with case numbers and everything, saying, "We got this. we can make this defense. The lawyer submitted his paperwork, and upon further review, they found out that some of the cases that the LLM was citing, they never existed. They were fictitious cases that it just dreamt up and applied for this lawyer, and this lawyer grabbed it all and was all excited. He didn't check whether or not to see whether or not those cases were real, and he put that into his argument, and it was there for public court to see. The judge said, how is it possible that you have referenced cases that don't exist? And the lawyer admitted openly, saying, oh, I apologize, Your Honor. I had ChatGPT draft this. Came right out and told the judge, yeah, I had it drafted by ChatGPT. And the judge said, get this is how you know justice is gone. The judge said, oh, well, that's okay. Let's adjourn for now and you can redo it.
The case is Mata v. Avianca, Inc.
Yes, I remember sending you an article about that a while back, I think, eh?
Yeah, back in January. I've got this on file from January.
Oh, wow, yeah. So it's almost a year now. The reason why that occurred is because the LLM was being agreeable, wanting to help as much as possible, and even willing to lie to do it. This new model that I was talking about, this Kimi K2, is making it is approaching this from a different perspective. Instead of being agreeable, instead of trying to please you during the session, it's actually quite critical. In fact, it will take your prompt. It'll say, oh, thank you so much for giving me this prompt. I don't like it. Here's how you could form your prompt better. That changes things, doesn't it? Big time. Now, if you're still a user, chances are you are not a sheeple, right? Because it's the masses, it's the disorganized masses that just chase pleasure. They chase that agreeable nature. They want to have a relationship with somebody that agrees with them, that helps them feel better about themselves. And that's what these models have done. Kimi K2 is coming at it from a different angle, saying, nah, if we want to help people, we actually have to become critical of their work so that they can see chances to improve. It's quite exciting. We're going to see more and more of that being applied, especially to the open source models, because that's the developer community. They don't want LLMs to be agreeable. They want LLMs to be productive. They want to spend less time in front of the computer. They want to spend less time interacting with tech. They recognize that these LLMs are the equivalent of a miner's friend, which was back in the late 1300s. The little wooden steam pump, steam-powered pump made of wood that helped miners draw water out of mine shafts so that they didn't have to go in themselves. It's a different type of labor, pushing buttons. But the principle is the same. These coders recognize these machines should be doing this kind of work for us, and I tend to agree. I think it's pretty ridiculous. The only reason I should be in front of a keyboard is to play the piano, because that's what these fingers are actually trained to do. I like typing on the keyboard because it actually brings me back to that state where I'm being creative in front of the piano keyboard.
Isn't that interesting how those two, that word keyboard translates between music and computers?
Isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. And I sit there and I just push buttons. I can type pretty quickly. I'm not the fastest typer, but usually 90 to 110 words a minute. And I like it. I enjoy it. I find it therapeutic to have the finger independence, that muscle between each finger. I practiced piano. And the way to do that is to form your muscle memory. You actually make exaggerated movements. The more exaggerated the movements are, the faster your muscle memory takes over. It's a wonderful thing. But do I want to do it for work? No. I want to do it for creativity.
Play.
Indeed. Any questions? Comments? Let's go check out MinSwap again.
I put the link for that case in the Telegram chat.
You haven't seen
perfect. Thank you.
You haven't seen the comments yet, have you, Paul?
Oh, no.
The comments. Oh, let's go look. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
What comment was that?
Paul will have his computer talk back to him and tell him to do better. This is a rare circumstance. Yeah. You could improve your muscle memory clearly because your typing had too many errors.
What chat is that in?
Oh, just ours here in StreamYard.
Oh, the chat here. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Telegram. Sorry, Audrey. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Meet Doc Grok. That's awesome.
Yeah, the link that I put in is in the Telegram chat, not here.
Right. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Oh yeah, Corey, great comment. Interested in getting Web3 all figured out. Hate that we have to pay rent for the domain name. Yeah, Unstoppable Domains helps a little bit with that. What I don't particularly care about Unstoppable Domains is that there's still payment information attached to those transactions. And it kind of actually alarms me that people who value decentralization and the ownership of digital assets would even go that route. To me, it's a very cognitively dissonant business idea. But that is one way that we're I think it's just a stepping stone. We're exploring, similar to that what we were talking about gaming. It's going to plateau, but it'll become a foundation for where we're headed. And I think it's going to be, environments that people interact with that are generated automatically by their local device instead of having programmers program the game. It will literally be no different than the reality we experience, which is that I think what's going to happen is that the devices are going to become projectors, but that the environment itself will it'll be automatically displayed, generated within the field of vision of the avatars.
One thing that's really cool already, and this will probably change a lot more. The one game called No Man's Sky has basically an infinite universe because it's supposed to be generated by AI. So the further out you go in the universe, it just keeps on expanding and growing. It's pretty mind blowing. I haven't played the game a lot, but yeah, it's every different planet you go to is different and has like unique creatures to that ecosystem of the planet.
Yeah. When you think about it, what occurred with this is the parallel. NFTs. When you take a look at the cyberpunks, great example. NFTs have parameters. Some of them have a bandana on their character. Some of them have a hat. But those are two different parameters on the same avatar. Similarly, all these different planets are going to have different parameters to them. Their gravity could even be different, affecting the pull of your character to the environment. All kinds of parameters can be different between each one. They're all just randomized, though. So when you arrive to a planet, if you're the first one there, that AI is going to create that environment randomly. And if you want to see this in real-time effect, in a more, instead of going to, well, you know what, the principle's the same. If you were to arrive at a planet to get an idea of in this metaverse, to get an idea of how that environment would be generated, just go and check out some videos on YouTube with Unreal Engine. That's a graphics engine that is being heavily leveraged by the video game industry simply because of how advanced the graphics are within that engine. And they are, well, it's generative. So as you get closer to an object, it generates more detail. It's incredible. And we're gonna see that become where it's just like we have all got holodecks in our homes type thing. Again, we even have to get away from the. I've been looking at what's happening with these things here. This has been an obsession of mine since the first one came out. In fact, to just let you know how obsessed I am about these devices, look at all these things. I have every generation right here. Right from the very get-go. This is the first one. Remember what that looked like? That's the very first iPhone that was released. And these things here are miniature. That's how I reference them. They are miniature virtual reality screens. You know, no different than putting on virtual reality goggles and interacting with an environment there. These things are just mini versions of that, but it's not like you have to put it over top of your head. And that has exponentialized the attention that we give the system. And of course, it's in the device of a phone, and so then your digital SIM card with your 10-digit phone number, that is always following you around. So the attachment to that data is always there. But what I've done with this device here, I put it in my drawer. What I've done with this device here, and it's an Apple device, and we were kind of chatting about this earlier. Oh yeah, and I got a client that's gonna be connecting to my other room here soon, and she's letting me know that she can't access it either. I'm gonna have to message her. But this device here is Apple. I don't have any security things on it because it's not necessary. Why? Because there's no identifiable information to the account. Like they can't. Apple could go ahead and look at all of the data. They can't attribute any of the data to me. So I'm looking at this whole thing, this whole tech thing, from a completely different perspective than most people, simply because I obsess about the terms and conditions on these things. And the detachment that I have to the device allows me to use it without ever becoming enslaved to it. Because again, I don't care if they see my data. They don't see me. And to the degree that we can separate identifiable information from the digital identifiers that we just keep on creating blindly without even reading the terms and conditions, we're fine. It's kind of like the feeling that I have around that is really not much different from what we hear in the Bible, which talks about, if God is for us, who can be against us? And I think that there's a lot of fear, and the same thing happened when I was a teenager, especially within the church. How much fear-mongering and doomsday prophecies were coming out of the church when the internet came out. The internet was never bad. It got used for bad things, but hello, so's nuclear power. Right? It's just another tool that we've created. So in the same way, I just look at these things as tools to accomplish things. The generation of data is the least of our concerns. Oh, generation of data attached to your government-issued identifiers, yeah, that's a problem. Why? Because the government has the ability to claim property over that. Whether they succeed or not is not really that important. They have jurisdiction over the person. So if your person is associated with all that data, yeah, you got reason to be scared because data is the largest commodity traded by volume today. It is the currency, data, because it records and confirms the process of, coming back full circle, attention. The data is the confirmation that they got your attention. That's why it's backing all of the industries that we're headed into in this great reset. Because people just keep on giving it to them. It's no different than, let's pay our taxes. Why? So that we can make sure that our governments commit more crimes against humanity. It's the same principle, right? Oh, I don't want them to do all this terrible thing with data. Well, then stop giving it to them. That's where that self-responsibility comes into play. Anyway, I feel like I've exhausted that point. Questions, comments? We got about 10 minutes here before I got to head over to the other room. Any other comments?
Nope, I'm just leaving.
None
Take
for
care.
me.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, all. Blessings.
Have an awesome rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Talk to you later.